And
so we are live.
We are live. And we're just not going to do the countdown tonight, folks, because I was not super prepared, unfortunately.
Well done.
I was busy making drinks for both of us. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So we're obviously super prepared because you can see we're both in the same place, and it's going super great. Sarenth is over at my house. My brand new apartment in front of my bar, and cheers. So yeah, this will be my setup, well, my place to broadcast from now on.
Yep.
Hey, Emily. And Sarenth decided to come over for my first time broadcasting from the new place. And also, let's welcome our special guest for the evening, Caitlin Stormbreaker.
Welcome.
Thanks for
Hi,
being here.
guys. How are you?
We're here,
Yep.
and we made it.
Yeah, me too. I actually had to work today, so I was out in this 90-degree heat outside. But thankfully, I got like the brunt of the super hot part of the afternoon off.
Oh, good.
So I worked from 6 until noon, and then went home and came back at 4 and got home at 6.
Oh shit! So you got on basically just in time to be here.
Pretty much, yeah.
Perfect. Sarenth is messing with things backstage so that you can actually see both of us when he comes to sit back down. Meaning he moved my laptop. That's what happened. But yeah, so special housekeeping out of the way, then we'll jump into the prayer.
So this is episode 20.
Episode 20, which is our special guest episode. I think from now on, or at least for a while, we'll try to be doing some rolling guests. So if you'd like to be a guest on the show, let us know. We'll figure something out. I had a thought and it died.
So we're going to be doing our usual format. We're going to be doing prayers, of course. But the format, for anybody that's been watching us since the beginning, the format's going to kind of change a bit. We're going to go away from doing drink reviews into just talking about pagan topics. We've been talking about doing this for a bit, but we're basically firmly cementing it in this episode that this is going to change out of being a review show into being more of a we'll talk pagan stuff over drinks kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm. Although I do want to know how you think about that drink. But.
So before we begin, Storm, do you have a prayer? Because if you don't, that's cool. I can pull one together.
No, brain total fucking mush right now, so.
That's really good. Okay. Hail to the gods, hail to the ancestors, hail to the Vetir, hail to the holy ones who bring us together in good company and good community. Hail to the frith keepers, hail to the griff makers, hail to the holy ones who bridge, who bring together, who bond. Hail, holy ones all, who do this great and needed work. Let's do Hail. Now, my hope is that folks can see more of us on the camera than what I'm actually seeing through the broadcast.
Hopefully, I think it's fine. Like, you can see most of us. It's fine.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, it is what it is.
So you've been out in this bullshit. For those who don't know, Michigan is about 90 degrees right now, and it's 7 o'clock in the fucking evening. Yeah. And that isn't even the real feel, because the real feel is probably about 3 or 4 degrees hotter.
At least.
Because it's Michigan. We're built in a swamp. Fuck you.
Yep. Although, I got to say, it is not as bad as the Pacific Northwest is hitting right now, where they literally, most of them don't even have air conditioning, and it's over 100 degrees.
Oh yeah. God.
Yeah, well, because they're not built for it, right? They normally don't hit this kind of heat wave, and it's awful.
Right.
So, actually, funny you mentioned that. I went to Many Gods West back when that was still a thing, and it was held in Olympia, Washington, which is not that far from Seattle. Mm-hmm. So I got to come in through SeaTac, my first time on a plane. And we had 80 to 90 degrees the whole fucking weekend. Fuck. No air conditioning in the whole hotel because they're not set up for it. It's constantly raining there. We had 0 rain the entire time I was there. Jesus. I was like...
So you were just miserable the whole goddamn time.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm a big dude in 90-degree weather. No bueno.
So Melkor says hi. Hi, Melkor.
Hello.
Emily says, Sarenth came over because you make amazing drinks. Sarenth would have come if you were broadcasting from a cardboard box.
She's got me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, they're not wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, this is fucking amazing. The thing about Malik, for those of you sitting at home not watching this person work, Malik partners with the spirits to make these. So what they're drinking and what I'm drinking are spirit made, and quite literally involves a whole bunch of spirits. And I can definitely taste some of that lemon juice and the pucker. I'm pretty sure you put some kind of whiskey in here.
No.
What is it?
So,
it's really good.
So that is 2 ounces of tequila.
Oh.
Half an ounce of aquavit. 2 ounces of brown sugar simple syrup. 1 ounce on the nose of lime juice, and that's it.
Okay, it was lime juice.
Yeah.
See, and this is also why I'm not doing review shit anymore.
To be fair, that's a weird fucking drink. Like, I was like, they're like, you're gonna do something weird, and I'm like, I'm gonna
It's
trust
the day ending
you.
and why. I'm just saying.
I mean, that's fair, but also like, I'm gonna trust you because aquavit and tequila. What the hell?
Wow, it's pretty bomb. Pretty bomb.
Um,
Also, I love your fucking. For those who can't see, they
are-
have these like little square ice cubes. They're fucking amazing.
yeah, they're these big fuck off chunks of ice. It's great. What are you drinking, Caitlin?
Oh, I'm not much of a drinker, and my mom gave me a bottle of wine for Christmas that I had yet to open, and it's actually called Black Cat, but I think it's like a really cheap, shitty wine. But surprisingly, it's not that bad. I had actually bought 2 really good bottles of wine over the weekend when we were in Coldwater, and I was like, oh, I want to get my dry red open and just have just a little bit because I have to get up at 4:45 tomorrow morning. And I was like, but I won't drink it. You know, that's kind of like a wait for a good party when I have friends over kind of wine where I can share it with them. And this one, if it sits in my fridge for 6 months, I won't feel heartbroken about dumping it. But it's surprisingly not that bad.
Hey, Car.
Hey, Car.
Miss you.
Car joins us for a
Yay.
new episode. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Hail, Car. Seriously, without Car doing all the back end work, this wouldn't have gotten anywhere.
Yeah.
'Cause-
No, like there's a reason that I was low key freaking out. And granted,
Loki freaking out.
yeah, you know, I've actually been saying that at a ridiculous amount lately. I'm like, Loki, are you trying to tell me something? Probably.
Yeah, calm the fuck down.
Well, probably, but you know, it's fine. Speaking of Emily, since you know she's here with us tonight, I'm actually drinking the whiskey that she gave us. So Emily came and stayed with us for a little while ago, and as a house gift, she brought us some Jameson cold brew that I'd been, meaning to review
Oh my
for a
God.
long time. Yeah, I know. It's pretty good by itself, but it also makes a ridiculous blind Russian, except it's not really a blind Russian anymore because it doesn't.
Is
have
it a
vodka.
one-eyed Russian?
It is now.
Read the runes, Carmen.
Right?
So, what's the difference between a white Russian and a blind Russian?
The difference is that a white Russian has heavy cream in it, and a blind Russian has Irish cream liqueur in it.
Oh,
So just a bit higher alcohol content. It's fine. And in this case, it was coffee liqueur, Jameson cold brew, and fucking no, you can't have my drink, asshole. You have your own.
I know.
But yeah, so Jameson cold brew, coffee liqueur, and St. Brendan's Irish cream, who I will still pimp because I genuinely really love that Irish cream. And it's actually really fucking good. Like,
Yeah, it looks really fucking good. Can you make that for me sometime?
You stay in the night because if you are, I might make it for you tonight. We'll see.
Okay.
You know.
As it is, this stuff's really good.
Mm-hmm.
A mead white Russian? Hold
A
up.
mead white Russian.
I got to show that one.
I know, make a mead white
That's
Russian, says Carr.
Boss.
Huh. That'd be interesting.
God damn it.
Yeah,
I need to come
we
out.
may need that recipe.
Yeah, though obviously not on air because
Right.
trade secrets. It's fine. What the fuck are we going to talk about besides how delicious?
Spirits.
Yeah, besides how fucking delicious these drinks are.
I mean, so we haven't really like dug into what your cultists with the spirits of alcohol look like. So I'm just going to throw you out on Front Street and be like, hey, talk about that.
Yeah. So
Ooh.
the Colorado. What the fuck is a Colorado Bulldog?
My dude, you're going to have to explain what the fuck that is.
Yeah.
Because a
please.
Colorado Bulldog sounds like something we shouldn't be talking on the air about.
Just
Yeah, it
No.
sounds like something you do in private behind closed doors.
Or
the
OnlyFans.
You know, he keeps promising it, so you know. I mean, they make toys for that. It's fine.
Ooh, a white Russian and a Coke. That's a Colorado Bulldog.
White Russian and Coke. Interesting.
Interesting.
Mm,
Okay.
I will try anything once.
I might not try that one.
I don't know how I feel about it. It could be good or really not. Anyway, my relationship with the alcohol spirits as I
That
love
was
you.
gold. That was pure gold.
You better
I
be
love
glad. This is what it's like all the goddamn time when we're together. By the way, just
Yes.
It's delicious. I believe that. See, because you, Carr, have never steered me wrong. The only time where I've actually gagged on this show is when I picked shit up on my own volition. So I actually trust you and Malik when it comes to drinks. I don't really trust myself for some fucking reason. Look, Myers rum. It'll be okay.
I'm not gonna make the joke.
You just will make the joke, asshole.
Nope. Moving on.
So, spirits, alcohol.
Spirits. So my relationship with them, which is a wonderful thing because it genuinely helps me to treat the spirits with the respect that they deserve, and myself with the respect that I deserve, which is important when you come from a family with a long history of alcoholism, which has a genetic component. It's a disease. It's not a moral condition. That's beside the point.
No, it actually is quite a big point. Especially because you're talking about repairing relationships, and this is ancestor work too. Oh, you didn't know that
I
part?
didn't think about that. Ouch.
You're welcome.
Beep beep, here comes the bus.
What about Freya?
I would actually kind of agree with that, and to think about just where alcohol started from and how far it's come over the time and how it's affected the lives of people. Bye, Carr.
Love you, Carr. Sorry, please continue.
So that's actually very interesting. My family are alcoholics. I mean, we could call it that, but they're not like violent alcoholics. They're all very happy drunks and easygoing and all that kind of stuff. But I've kind of taken a step back from it because I don't really enjoy being drunk that much. So developing that sort of relationship with spirits is kind of fascinating to me because I adore them. Like, I love wine and I love gin and I love certain craft beers, but it's like, if I'm going to drink something that's good and tasty, and I'm not just going to like drink to get drunk. But I never thought about asking the spirits for mixed drink recipes. I do that for food.
Mm-hmm. And it's really the same concept, right? It's like, cool, what are we drinking tonight? Or who am I drinking tonight? How are we doing this? And sometimes it's fairly straightforward stuff like, okay, you're going to mix these things and they go together naturally. And you think like, neat, that makes sense. Like Grand Marnier goes really well with tequila because it's an orange liqueur. Those flavors mesh well. And sometimes it's fucking aquavit and tequila, and you're like,
Why?
all right, sure.
You're not going in my mouth.
I tried a bit because I wasn't going to give you something that I thought was gross. But like, yeah, no, it was very much all right.
When the spirits want to be in your mouth.
You really want an OnlyFans account. You really want an OnlyFans account. That's it. That's really what Sarah's trying to do.
Oh yeah, for
This
sure.
whole fucking time.
Mhm.
But
Thinking about it, that's kind of how I came up with my gin recipe with fresh blueberries, mint, Sprite, and gin, and it's so good.
That sounds really refreshing, actually.
that sounds really good.
It is such a good summer drink because I was like, well, I'm just kind of sick of the regular gin and tonic and lime juice. Let's try something else. And somebody in the back of my head goes, get blueberries and fresh mint and fresh lime, and it'll be wonderful. And I was like, okay, let's do that.
Let's see, Felicia says tasty and heavy. Baron Jaeger and Domaine de Canton.
I have never had either of those, but that sounds intriguing.
It does. Felicia, if you're not already on our Discord, please join our Discord, which I'll try to toss that in the show notes so that it's up there. Sarah will probably just do it right now. Because, yeah, I want to know more about both of these things because I've genuinely never heard of them, which is, not that surprising. But low-key surprising.
Low-key surprising.
It's just going to be a thing. I'm going to have to talk to him at some point soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it happened.
He actually has me, he wants me to design a specific type of ritual, which I may need your help and a few others in creating it. So, yes.
So Felicia says honey bourbon and ginger liqueur. That sounds amazing.
That sounds fucking
super
awesome.
Yeah, no, that sounds fantastic.
And there goes the Discord.
Sweet. Thanks, Sarenth. Sarenth just posted the Discord link in the show notes. And yeah. So if you're not on our Discord, please come join us. Honestly, it's like a decent time. Like we just hang out and talk about booze.
Yep.
Actually, boys, I have to go get a different drink because after I let this air out, it is not a good wine.
Ooh,
at
sorry.
all.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. I've got my gin in there. I'll just drink it straight because that's way better than this. And I will be right back.
Fair enough.
Do what you gotta.
Fair enough.
So, well, she's gone.
Yeah.
It's worth pointing out, like, living on American soil, speaking of spirit work and working with the spirits of alcohol, we're in a really interesting place because as heathens, we don't have an issue with alcohol. It's actually a sacred thing. But given where we're living in North America, and we are settlers, basically, that presents some issues.
Yeah.
Because while our gods and ancestors might appreciate alcohol, not all the Lanvatir and not all the gods of this place appreciate alcohol offerings. So that's something you got to work on and negotiate with.
Yeah. And I mean, some do, in my experience, granted in my experience.
Yes, some do.
Some do. But my go-to is water and tobacco.
Yep.
Actually, it was last night. Yeah, it was last night. Last night I made an offering to. So since we just moved to this apartment, our house calls it ambrosia.
Yeah, the
That
honey
sounds-
bourbon and ginger liqueur.
That sounds like ambrosia. Yeah, no, I buy it.
Real quick, I'm going to highlight what Emily just said here.
I love the concept of bringing sacredness and spirit interaction to the consuming of alcohol. And that's really kind of what it's about.
Right.
Is this...
That's really what the whole show's premise is that alcohol is a sacred thing.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean, right, just because it's sacred to some gods doesn't mean that it's sacred to all gods, because some gods will have taboos against it. Even some gods in the same system will have taboos
Right.
against it.
Right.
Like if I am recalling correctly, there are spirits in, and I am an outsider. I'm not speaking for this tradition. This is just a factoid that I think I recall. I believe that there are spirits in Vodou for whom alcohol is completely taboo, and that there are spirits in Vodou for whom alcohol is very, very sacred. If I'm remembering correctly, that may not be the case.
There's certain Loa you don't give alcohol to. Period. Yeah. It's verboten.
No.
I mean, and this is also something that holds true for our own gods. Like, there are times where you don't give alcohol offerings. I'm especially thinking of with certain sacred fires where we've had it where the year previous at Michigan Pagan Fest, that fire wanted everything: food, herbs, alcohol. It didn't give a shit what you gave it. And then the
Your own finger.
Right. And then
that was a hungry fire.
It was a very hungry fire. And it was like, if you even so much as breathe, like, to the point of where some of us went away. I think if this is the year I'm thinking of, some of us actually ate away from the fire so the fire didn't fucking eat our food.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no. We hid behind the tents to eat our food so that the fire wasn't like, gimme, gimme, gimme. And even then it was still like, excuse me, bitch. You owe me an offering.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, I'm allowed to cuss, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
YouTube will have already flagged this as not for kids because we're drinking on air.
That, and also, I cuss like a drunken sailor, even when I'm sober.
Me too.
I need some more drink. How's about you? Nah, you're about halfway.
Yeah. Here, you try that, and I'm gonna switch.
Oh, I thought I wasn't gonna have your drink.
But completing your thoughts, Aaron. Sorry for derailing you. The fire following that actually didn't want alcohol at all, and it really didn't want much of anything, if I recall correctly.
No, because it had to stay away.
Yeah, and little bits of offerings here and there, but other than that, it really wasn't wanting anything else but fuel.
That was the year where it was damn near a native fire in terms of its protocols.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
it was very
only sacred herbs, maybe a little bit of water at the end.
Yeah, and only at the end. It was very interesting.
That's a really good point. I feel like America, the United States culture in general, has extra hangups about how to interact with alcohol in a healthy way. I agree. And I think part of it has to do with our puritanical background, because my German ancestors would have introduced you to alcohol at probably between the ages of, 13, give or take?
As soon as you reach the top of the bar, basically.
Right. And they just, admittedly, there's still alcoholism and there's still issues with alcohol overseas. Like, I'm not trying to romanticize German culture just because it happens to be my ancestry. But they don't have the same other kinds of hangups that we do here in the States. And I think part of that has to do with our Puritan background.
A lot of it does, honestly.
I mean, because we got the same issues around sex and sexuality, gender issues, the whole nine. And a lot of that, I think you can trace straight back to white bread Protestantism. Like, just my personal view.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think another part of it is, as American culture, we're lacking in a lot of areas that leave big gaping holes in people, and because we don't have that respectful relationship with the spirits, we consume them to actually fill that void, but that's not their point. That's not their purpose here.
Yep.
Ouch. Yep. Yeah. And that's a really, really good point. Wow.
Sorry?
Well, no, I mean, I have a fairly healthy relationship with alcohol. I mean, the only time where I drink is when I do this show. Like, just to put it out there to the audience. Like, the only time where I actually drink much anymore is when I'm doing the show. So we've gone down to once a month. So I'm drinking about once a month. That's about it. And so a lot of my relationship with alcohol is filtered through the lens of treating it in a very certain way, which American culture doesn't do. I mean, the commercials and the sponsorships that alcohol companies put on speaks for itself, really. Drink to excess and then drink some more, Oh, but drink responsibly.
Oh, right. Yeah. But, drink this when you're out at the lake, on the beach, or in the boat, or having a bonfire, or have this
but that's
for
Midwest
dinner.
culture.
Yeah.
I hear that so fucking often. Like, no, that's not Midwest culture. That's just your family wanting an excuse to drink, which is fine. Just be honest with you.
Yeah. I knew a family whose excuse to drink was, it's a Tuesday. Let's get drunk. And I'm like, it's a fucking Tuesday. I have to work in the morning, so let's not.
Right.
So that's fucking ridiculous. Sorry to interrupt, because this is an important discussion, and I agree with all the points made, frankly. And even in craft brewing, where you would think there would be the utmost respect for the spirits for this liquid, right? You would think, but no, it's treated even more pedestrianly. It's, oh, what's one beer? What's 5 beers? My tolerance is high enough. I drink every day, so my tolerance is high enough. I can drive. It's fine.
No, it is not okay.
It's not fine. It's 100% not fine. And I can tell you from experience, it's 100% not fine.
I am with you on that one from experience. It is 100% not fine.
Yeah. So we're going to take this question right here. I'm curious. This is from Emily. I'm curious how Malik started forming their relationship with the spirits of alcohol. Yes. Or any advice on starting down that path?
If there's any in addition to the general spirit advice. So the way that I did this was the same way that I start most spirit relationships, which is with an offering. Like I literally, it's like, hi, I would like to form a relationship with you. Here's an offering. But at the same time, I was also, like, while I was doing that, I was also having conversations with other heathens online, in particular on the Discord Skithblathnir, which I highly recommend. And we were talking about Reconstruction and how you can create specific cultists around specific kinds of spirits, specific things. And this topic kind of got brought up. And a lot of people, what they will do is they will focus it on a specific god, at least at first. And I didn't quite do that because I did kind of both at once, because it doesn't quite sit right with me to just acknowledge a god and not also the other spirits involved. Right, like I was acknowledging the alcohol spirits in general, while also wanting a god to kind of form a focal point, if that makes sense. It's kind of like a spokesperson is actually probably a better thing. So for me, that was Kvasir, because in Norse mythology, mead comes from his blood. He's killed, his blood is saved because it's special, because he's very, very wise, and then it's brewed into mead, and that is the mead of poetry, which is not just poetry as we think of it today, but it's also prophecy and wisdom and history and record keeping and all of these other things that poetry was then. That it's not anymore because we've lost, or we no longer have an oral tradition, we have a written tradition. So effectively what I did was I started a cultist with the alcohol spirits and with Kvasir as kind of the spokesperson. Now, my god phone is pretty strong. It's not as strong as some others. But it's relatively strong. So I'm able to hear both the alcohol spirits as kind of a chorus and Kvasir as kind of the lead singer at once. But if the voices are overwhelming, it's too much and please y'all one voice, I will go to Kvasir for that and say, hey, I can't hear what's happening. Can you speak to me for them? Mm-hmm. As mythologically the source of alcohol.
Yep.
Right. And so that's how I started, was both with a reconstruction, like here's how I'm going to academically create this cult, but then simultaneously, because that's important, right? You can't just think about the thing. You've got to do the thing. I started with offerings. Like while I was actively doing the academic bit, I was making offerings. And it was while I was also doing the show, which is devotional work. And I separate between devotional work and offerings. But
they're the same to me.
And that's fine. Like, it's just personally.
Well, actually, you know what? There is a difference, because like devotional work is separate from offerings in the sense that giving a piece of bread to a spirit is not the same as doing a service. That's very true.
Yeah. And so I see this show as devotional work for the alcohol spirits. And then at the same time, I was making offerings. And granted, it was a little after the show started, but that's kind of how I did the thing.
So I'm going to jump in here
real
quick.
Please.
So taking it out of the Norse and Nordic traditions, one of the things that I do at the start of most of the shows that I'm part of is I'll pray to Othin, Loki, and Dionysus. And Dionysus is the originator of wine. He is not only the god of wine, but how the wine is produced, so that the growing of the grape, the harvesting of the grape, the crushing and the vintning of the grape, the whole process is sacralized, as opposed to just, well, I'm drinking this thing down the hatch. You know, much in the same way that you have a cultist with Kvasir or Kvasir, I have a relationship with Dionysus. Mm-hmm. And I also have with Kvasir, but I wanted to talk from a Dionysian perspective a little bit. And, you know, so can you hold multiple relationships with different pantheons as a heathen? Yes. Mm-hmm. Just to cut that particular question off the pass. Historically speaking, it would have been really weird to section off, well, I only worship gods from this culture. Because you worshipped pretty much any god that you came across that you felt called to worship, historically speaking. We have evidence of Heracles being worshipped in India. We have evidence of the Hindu gods making their way into Japan and becoming kami. We have ongoing cultural exchange. And the only reason that nowadays that we separate cultural exchange is, unfortunately, because of racism and nationalism.
Yeah. That's basically it. And because it makes neat boxes for academics to draw, which doesn't really work. Let's see.
Actually, I would like to add to this, because in the Karo tradition, not necessarily the tradition, but within the families of the Karo people that live in the Andean mountains, when they make their, we'll call it vodka for lack of better words, because they don't actually call it vodka there. It's from potatoes. Mm-hmm. So they grow those potatoes, first of all, and then they cultivate them. They dig them up out of the ground. And then a whole bunch of older women sit around a bucket and actually physically bite off a piece of the potato, chew it up until it's mash, and then spit it into the bucket.
Oh, interesting.
So it's almost like a part of their body is in every bottle, in every drop, literally. And they don't really add water to it, because their saliva is what breaks it down into the actual liquor.
Right.
And then they, like the Vikings had their magic mead stick to add the yeast to it. They have something similar. They have a special spoon that they use to stir it, because it has living cultures of yeast in it that cause it to actually eat the sugars of the potato. And so that's kind of where my relationship with alcohol comes from, and understanding how much work and time goes into the creation of it, and just understanding that this is a thing that took months, sometimes years, sometimes almost a few decades to actually create and make it to my table. It deserves some respect.
Absolutely.
And it deserves some attention.
Side note, addendum, I don't know. That's also how cacao is worked with to make cocoa.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
So I actually watched this documentary on how you traditionally make cocoa, and for the most part, the process is still the same.
Yeah.
Because the human saliva has to break down the fruit of the cacao tree.
I was going to add that. So potatoes are actually almost entirely starch as a tuber.
Right.
But, and this is a fun fact, you have an enzyme in your saliva that breaks starches into sugar. It's actually one of the very first steps of that digestion process. And like, so if you take like a saltine cracker that's basically entirely starch, that's really interesting, Storm. Yeah, no, it absolutely is fascinating.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating because, I mean, basically, like, inspired by the gods, human discovery, take your pick, we figured out if you chomp on this tube or if you chomp on this fruit and go and spit it into a bucket and wait, it'll turn into alcohol.
Yeah.
Fucking magical.
It really,
And that particular alcohol is used in a lot of their fire ceremonies. And in a lot of their other ceremonies, like their despacho ceremonies and stuff like that. And they use it for blessings and offerings and everything. So it is definitely very spiritually used within that culture.
They have a shitload more varieties of potatoes than what we do. I wonder if there's specific varietals they use.
I'm not sure.
Because, like, I mean, we're used to Idaho potatoes, reds, and occasionally the other misfit brand that doesn't make it in the top three. But for the most part,
Yeah, the yellow potatoes.
right?
yeah.
Like,
You got white, red, and yellow. That's all you need.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
like Yukon Golds.
Mhm.
But like we have like 3, whereas they have literally hundreds.
Yeah.
Oh, really quick before I forget, Peru's and the Andean peoples right now are going through an incredibly hard time, folks. Please, if you can, donate to the Heart Walk Foundation. Our brother Jim is putting forward his call for donations right now to celebrate his birthday. It would mean a whole lot to us if you go to the Heart Walk Foundation. I'm going to find the link and I'll put it in the show notes.
Actually, go directly from Jim's Facebook page, I think, because he did a charity thing for them.
I'll copy
on
that.
Yep. So yeah, that's Jim Two Snakes on Facebook, I believe.
Yeah. So what happened was these people up in the high mountains, they live at 14,000 feet and higher, I think all the way up to about 18,000 feet into the mountains. And they legitimately can only grow potatoes. It's the only crop up there that will survive at that altitude. And while they raise alpaca and llama, those animals are also struggling right now because they got hit with a very heavy winter storm that went through and decimated most of their crop for their storage. And with the pandemic before it, they couldn't really get in a lot of supplies from down in Cusco and Lima and all those other places around that they would normally be able to get things for the winter. So please go to his page, donate even $1 to help them so that we can get food to them so that they can put it in their stores.
Yeah. Because right now, if I'm understanding correctly, right now they are eating their seed potatoes to survive.
Yep.
They are literally facing starvation. These people will die.
Yes.
If they don't receive help.
Yep.
Yep.
And we have more than enough.
We do. If you're able, please help. If you can't, don't feel bad.
Share the
Please share it.
Share the link. Do what you can. Use your voice. Yes. That is help enough. But if you can, please help. Give me a second.
Do what you gotta.
So, this is where my tradition and Jim's tradition is rooted in. So it's very spiritually tied to the two of us. But any help that you can give would be very, very appreciated. We'll love you for it. We love you still.
Absolutely. And I think that one of the things that comes up very frequently in our work is how do we give back? So something that Emily brought up earlier was did you use tobacco and water for those initial offerings for alcohol, spirits, or something else?
So not the initial, but it started pretty quickly. And in fact, that's traditionally, not really, but usually what I use is water and tobacco, because very often my offering is alcohol, but it isn't right in my mind, at least, to offer alcohol to alcohol spirits. So I started with actually an offering of sugar because I was making simple syrup at the time. So I made an offering of sugar and then the simple syrup when it was done, because that's used in the creation of most of my cocktails. And then after that, I kind of transitioned to using tobacco and water.
So I'm going to take that as a jumping off point.
Please.
The reason I asked about that and pointed that particular comment out when I did is because there are certain offerings that can only be given as physical offerings, and then there are services of spirit, devotional activities, and donating to things like the Heart Walk Foundation is a devotional activity.
Mm-hmm.
Donating to your local native tribes when they are asking for help, like the Line 5 fighters right now. That is a form of devotion to your land spirits.
Absolutely.
So speaking of which, please donate to both the Heart Walk Foundation and the Line 5 protesters, because gods know we don't need another damn pipeline. And especially we need Line 5 and Enbridge for our local ecologies to thrive, to be gone.
Yeah, just entirely.
Actually, I am going to pop that up because that's a really good point. I use water and saliva in some of my nature spirit type offerings from Emily. Yes, that makes total sense. But I use alcohol as the offering for a lot of my deities and some ancestor work. And again, makes a lot of sense because, well, you kind of inherited your saliva from your ancestors, and for a lot of your human ancestors, that's going to be really squicky.
Yeah. I will note that in many traditions, not all traditions, many traditions, or I should say some traditions, not even many, in some traditions, saliva, blood, sweat, things like that are considered profane and are not appropriate for offerings. That doesn't mean that they aren't in your tradition. I'm not speaking for anyone else. Just that in some traditions, they're not good offerings. So, talk to the spirits involved and make sure it's an appropriate offering.
Yep.
I also have an extremely healthy fear of the Fae. And I am very careful about giving my personal physical offerings, be it hair, spit, skin, nails, anything, blood, all of that, to any sort of nature area. I typically have dried up rose petals from give flowers from my husband every month, or I give a pinch of herbs or oat milk on a rock or something in that case. But honestly, healthy respect for the Fae. Really don't want to fall down that tunnel.
Oh no, that's completely legit.
Yep.
Okay, before I forget, because I am still using this podcast as a kind of journal of the spirit-led spirits I'm making. This drink was 2 ounces of tequila, 1 ounce of Grand Marnier, 1.5 ounces of elderberry liqueur, or elderberry syrup, not liqueur, elderberry syrup, and 1.5 ounces of lemon juice. No idea what it's called. It's fucking delicious, though. You should actually try it.
Oh, darn.
It sounds wonderful.
Damn.
Right?
Damn.
Right? I was like, what the fuck? I mean, those flavors all kind of work together, right? Like, it makes sense, but no, you can't have it.
Looking good, folks. Oh. Y'all should put donation links in the show notes and perhaps create a specific channel in the Discord for those. That's a really good idea.
We've been talking about creating a resources channel.
Mhm.
We need to do that.
Well, that's okay. I can do that right quick.
Do it. Thanks.
While I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Both of us have ADHD. It's fine. We won't forget. Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm post 90-degree work day out in a field, so my brain is like la 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 la.
I am surprised you're conscious.
Well,
Do you have to work tomorrow?
Yes.
Fuck.
Just tell us when you need to leave.
You got me for about another 15 minutes or so, and then at that point, I'm probably going to start tanking real fucking hard.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
But no, I actually really quite enjoy the work because it's been rather amusing how my relationship with Freyr has been growing because of it. And I mean, I'm literally farming.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Right.
what I'm doing. And so having my hands in the dirt or being barefoot in the field or having, because we hand farm too. So we use cultivating tools and go in between all the plants and everything. And I've started offering a prayer to Freyr when I'm in the field, and I ask him, please allow me to survive this day with the least amount of pain when I get home.
Hmm.
And I always honor every plant that I'm going by, even though it's not out loud because of very Catholic bosses and all of that. Although I'm probably sure I could spin it in a way to where it might sound like I'm praying to the Jesus, but actually praying to
Catholic prayers just for shits and grins.
You absolutely should. It would be hilarious just to see the look on their faces when I just start spitting them out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so much.
I should teach you the Hosanna. That'd be hilarious to twist that for Freyr's worship. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Vaguely.
Okay.
And it's even better because so much of South American traditions are folk Catholicism, right? They're indigenous and Catholic traditions blended. And the Kara tradition that you were initiated in comes from, like, that's...
It's perfect.
Oh.
Also, because
Yep.
Freyr's name translates to Lord.
Yep.
So damn near any Catholic prayer, you could easily go,
Yep.
Oh, yeah, no,
Just-
that works really well. Oh,
What is it? Superimpose his name in place of the other one.
mm-hmm.
oh, you don't even have to change the prayer if you want to be sneaky.
Yeah,
sneaky,
no, just-
sneaky.
Well, no.
Lord, because that's literally
Yeah,
how
you just
temple is.
say right. You just say
Oh.
Lord, but I'm not praying to their Lord. I'm
Right.
praying to mine.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. Yup. No, it's fine.
Actually, that's a really important point about working with local cultists.
Mhm.
Because so many generations now have been Christian, and either have gone completely away from, because the thing about folk Catholicism is it's basically paganism light.
Oh, completely.
I mean, Catholicism in general is pagan light, but folk
It
Catholicism
absolutely is.
even more so.
folk Catholicism, especially.
And what's really, I think, important for folks to remember is, like, a lot of the traditions of the land you're living on may no longer be living traditions because of forced resettlement or forced conversion.
Mhm.
And that is something to keep in mind, because if some of these spirits are kind of turned off by your paganism, it might be because they're not used to that kind of interaction anymore. And it's nothing to do with you. It's just that's not what they're used to humans doing any longer. So either you might have to adjust your practice, or they might just need to get used to this again.
Or both.
Or both.
So, funny story. I don't know if I've ever shared this with either of you, but when after I met Tony, actually, he reminded me of the people that used to live on these lands. And although, thanks, Emily.
That was a bit ago. That wasn't in the middle of the story.
I know. And while I had never lost my awareness of them, there was sort of a barrier that was kind of put up between me and the fact that I'm living on their former lands, you
Right.
know? And it's very kind of funny how the American school system does that, to where they just like implant that barrier to subdue any of the guilt or our support of them, and the fact that we're living on stolen lands. They
Yeah.
don't talk about that. So when I found that out, I figured out what tribes had lived in the area, and I walked outside and I had a fire in my sacred fire pit that I set up in actually a Lakota way. And I gave offerings, and I just basically said to the land, I am so sorry your people have been gone for so long. And I am so sorry that I'm not the person that you expected to bring attention to you, but I'm here now. I acknowledge your presence and I want to help you. I want to give you offerings if I'm able, if I am allowed to. And the thing that showed up honestly scared the fucking daylights out of me at first, because it was this huge, like, bipedal with big deer horns and had like vines and shit hanging off of it and had long, like, creepy arms, almost like a bad spirit in Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I was just like, holy fuck. Okay. Here is some tobacco and here is some sweetgrass and here is some cornmeal and
Please
just
don't
like,
fucking eat me.
just like carefully laid it out on the ground before me. And I was just like, I don't know what else to do. That's all I got right now. I'll do some more research and I'll come back. And when I came back a few days later, the only thing it said to me was, "Oh, you again?" I was like, I'm sorry. Here's your coffee. Here's your little pouch of herbs. I learned better. I'm sorry. It's not supposed to be put on the ground. It's supposed to be put in a special pouch. And he's like, better. And then after that, it was just, there was no communication. There was no teaching. There was no lessons learned or anything. It was just a very formal, I walk out, give him offerings. I say good morning or I say good night. And then especially when I moved from the property, I made sure to shut down the spirit fire. And I made sure to contact him and be like, look, I'm leaving. You're welcome to follow me. You're welcome to come to that land over there. And he's like, that's not my land, but do the same thing out there that you did for me. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. I'm waiting for my people to come back, but you are a light in the dark for me.
And that's something you said. There was no teaching. There was no lessons.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Expecting spirits to teach you something just because you showed up is not okay.
That's toxic as fuck.
It's toxic as fuck. It's a colonizer mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It is expecting for the world to give you something because you are present. And it's not okay. While I don't believe in, to phrase this,
The spirits don't fucking owe you.
the spirits don't know you, and like, you aren't necessarily responsible for the sins of your fathers. You are still benefiting from systems of oppression that directly harm. I'm speaking to the white people. Like, just straight up. In America, I'm speaking to the white people. If you don't like it, fuck off. That's it. I'm speaking to myself included. You benefit directly from the systems of oppression that directly harm and intentionally harm the people that these spirits, this land, had a relationship for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
If you expect for them to just be happy that you're here, you're an idiot. That's it. You're an idiot. You just haven't thought it through. That doesn't mean they'll hate you.
Well, no, but it's worth pointing out that a lot of the animal spirits, I mean, the one that comes to mind are the Ojibwa. They have clan relationships with certain animals, bear, crane, and so on and so forth. Without getting like turtle, without getting too deep into the nitty gritty, because like that differs depending on band and depending on particular part of the tribe and so on and so forth. But like these are animal spirits. These are big spirits, capital B, capital S, big spirits that have ongoing kin relationships with these tribes that we don't have. When I or somebody else says, hey, I have a kinship relationship with the wolf, we're really not talking about the wolves that are from here.
We're not.
I'm pale as fuck. I am not talking about the wolves that are here. I'm talking about the wolves that used to live over there, or that mercifully still do. But even our animal kin relationships that we bring over as pagans aren't native to this land. So expecting to have that deep connection is kind of a goofy notion on its face. We don't have that. We don't have that connection. Even my grandfather, I've talked about this in a lot of forums. My great-grandfather came over on a boat in 1911. I don't have very deep ties to the land like these native people do. I just don't. And it's not a strike against me. It's just reality.
Yeah.
And I am a relative newcomer compared to the people who've lived here for literally thousands of years. Time out of mind. We dismiss their stories at our own foolishness. We dismiss their narratives and their understanding of the world with our own foolishness.
I've said it before. I haven't said it here, but I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The Aboriginal people, and I hope that's not a slur.
As far as I know, it's not.
As far as I know, it's not. But
the Aboriginal people of Australia.
The Aboriginal people of Australia have a more accurate oral history. At least they did before it was horribly, and I think it's still accurate. But
yes. Yes.
Have a more accurate oral history than our Western written history is accurate today.
Yep.
Their oral history that we deride as backwards and inaccurate.
Modern Western civilization derides. We don't.
Yeah, well, we don't, yes. But modern Western civilization derides as backwards and foolish.
Primitive.
Big quotes.
Yeah.
Is factually, statistically, more accurate than our written historical record in the West.
And it's a pretty common refrain nowadays for scientists to speak up, whether they're archaeologists, geologists, etc. There's a lot more tendency nowadays to go, oh yeah, these stories that Native people were telling, not only were they accurate, now we have direct physical proof of where that story probably came from and why it was the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you had just fucking listened to the people who were telling you the stories,
you might have learned something. You might have fucking learned something. Speaking of ancestor work.
Right. Also, cut in if you've got something to say. Oh, never mind. You're drinking.
Also cut in if you've got something to say. We've been fucking... I do like that our audience is relatively quiet this episode as we're ranting about colonization.
Right.
That's not me poking at the audience. Like, I understand that if you're listening to the show, you're probably on board.
Mm-hmm.
But we're ranting and we're angry and we're upset. And we have a right to be. And also, we aren't nearly angry enough, and we don't have as much right as we maybe think. That's a whole other thing. I'm not trying to make this into a white guilt thing because that centers the narrative.
This isn't about white guilt. White guilt is an indulgence.
Yeah,
it really is. You know what I'm fucking pissed as hell about?
Go ahead.
The fact that I have Cherokee ancestry within my line, and because I am a white woman and have been raised as a white woman, I will never know that part of my family. I will never know those traditions. I will never know those people. I will never know that love. And that was taken from me. And I am fucking pissed as hell at the people that forcefully inserted that line into my own and then removed it like it were a cancer.
Damn.
And that's why I do what I do. That's why I pray to their spirits. That's why I don't ask them for anything. I say thank you and I get the fuck up and I walk away.
Sorry, I just gotta thank you for saying that. You just reminded me of something that I have been told I'm not allowed to say on air.
We'll talk after.
Yes, please do.
Thank you. All right.
So we're going to start wrapping up the show because we're almost at an hour.
And Caitlin needs to go to bed so that she can get up for work at 4 a.m.?
4:45.
No thanks.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry for the gut punch earlier, Sarenth. Sorry for, bitching about colonization and all that stuff. But
No,
it's been
don't
great.
be sorry about it, because like even on a show like this, we're three pagans, we're on tap, and sometimes that tap means that we're drinking, and sometimes that tap means the spirits need to say some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's totally legit. And I mean, the more that we have these conversations, the easier that we can put these conversations into the common news sphere of pagan thought, the less bullshit we're going to have to reckon with.
Yeah.
These should be active conversations we have, regardless of context at the end of the day.
I'm actually looking forward to the day that all races can come together and just give each other a hug and accept each other as people and accept each other back into each other's lives and into their families.
Absolutely.
Very much.
And I think that I'm starting to see some of that on even platforms as diverse as TikTok and Twitter. There are people that are coming together, like Savage Island and Vertiluger just recently had an exchange, which was really cool, where basically they kind of invited each other to each other's ancestor cookouts, which I'm loving that shit.
I actually just started following Savage Island. I didn't know them until Josie introduced me to them. So
Savage Island's pretty cool.
I'm gonna have to check them out.
Native of
Hawaii, yeah.
Hawaii,
Yeah.
I believe. And so, like, even across pretty goddamn fraught ethnic lines. I mean, you're talking about a people that were fucked over and conquered in the late 1800s. Like, folks, that's not even much more than 120 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, this is recent history. And so, like, even then, we have people reaching across these chasms of pain and suffering. And that's what shows like this are also for. Like, if any Native people, for any reason, want to come on this show and have a good drink and have a conversation, please do.
Yeah.
Because those are conversations that we want to have too.
Yeah. Like, legit, we'd love to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
And I really appreciate everybody that was able to join us tonight. I really appreciate you taking time out of your incredibly fucking busy day to come have a drink with us.
Yeah.
You know what? I miss you both a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Sarenth, I know I get to see you more than I get to see Malik, but Malik, I think the last time I saw you was at Convocation in 2019.
That's
2020, not 2019, because I didn't
Was it
go to
2020?
Yeah, it was 2020.
Yep.
I know
Okay.
2020 was like 7 years long.
Right. 2020 didn't exist to me, okay? That whole year just got erased.
Yeah, no, but it was 2020. Yeah,
That's
no,
over a year ago.
It was. No, it was. Also, that convocation was a trip. It was. I don't remember it. You don't remember it. You fucking threw me for several loops. I've told that story several times. It's a whole goddamn thing. It's it's a whole
episode. Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly.
whole episode.
Yeah, no, that convocation fucked my shit up. All right.
Yeah.
I'm there with you. And it had nothing to do with Sarenth, actually.
It's a first.
Although, to be fair, Caitlin was basically, for the whole convo, was basically just like, hi, I need someone to fucking talk to. Can I talk to you? And Caitlin was there. Like, every morning, I was like, hi, I don't know what's happening. It's okay.
Yeah, lay it on me. Come on. But you know what? We found out later that we're actually birthday twins, so maybe that's a thing.
It's so ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You need to get to bed. We're going to wrap up. If folks want to be there for the after show, we will be on the Discord. Love y'all. See you then.
Be safe.
Be safe. Drink responsibly. Give back where you can. Thank y'all so much.
And honor those spirits.
And honor those
Absolutely.
spirits. Adios, y'all.